All right, perfect. Well, you guys, just a couple of things. I'm really behind getting recordings up, so I will get tomorrow's and tonight's up tomorrow. And I will also draw for the Starbucks card. You guys are keeping me hopping with calls. That's what's happening, which is exciting. So I got just a little bit behind today on that whole secretarial kind of thing. So I do have some gaps tomorrow. So I'll get that. I'll get all of that up for you. So everything is up to date. And just a couple of things that I want to share with you guys. Just some reminders. I know that you remember the rules of winning and everything, and you have until Sunday to complete it. So it's 25 opportunity shares. You get the mug for recruits. You get the t-shirt. 10 of your opportunity shares need to be 3-way calls. Now, you have plenty of time to get that done. You have until Sunday at 11 p.m. And so, keep working that, keep pushing that to get it done. I really want you to get the training done, but I also want you to see that magic of the 10. There's something about hitting those 10 opportunity shares where you really start to see some closure and some people saying yes. And that's really is a magical number to be at. Now, and tomorrow night we have Dr. Bruce sharing. I know that several of you guys have people getting on there. I cannot stress enough the importance of filling that line up, of getting your prospects on there. I would go back through anybody that you have that has not said yes or no. It's an amazing reason to call back, to say to them, I know I've already told you guys this, but I'm just reiterating it. It's an amazing reason to call back and say to them, hey, Julie, I would love for you to get on the line and listen to this doctor speak. He's amazing for any science geeks that you have, anything like that. So even for me, I think the reason why I'm stating that is even for me, just a minute ago, Julie and I were talking about a prospect that she has that's a chiropractor. And she said, I should get him on the call. And I was like, oh yeah, you should totally get him on the call. And it made me just think about a couple of prospects that I have that are real science freaks. And I'm definitely going to be getting them on that call. That call also, that is for you as well. Even though it's a prospect call, I feel like I learned 99.9% of my product knowledge in the 6 months that I worked with Dr. Bruce when we were developing his executives. So I went to Kansas City almost every week for 6 months. And during that time is when I learned my product knowledge. So I feel like I owe most of it to him. So getting on that and tomorrow night is also huge for you for training purposes. Tonight we're going to talk about what to do with a recruit once you get your recruit. So I have a new recruit. What do I do? Now, I am going to say, I guess I'm going to try to slow down and stress the importance of really bringing in your new recruits in an effective way and being very intentional. I want you to think about the amount of time it takes to get a recruit, because you're spending time posting, you're getting product results, you're sharing the opportunity, you're sending a follow-up. And when you finally get them, you've just invested all of that time into getting that recruit. And so what you want to do is you want to make sure that you are sponsoring that recruit and taking ownership of bringing them in. Because you want to make sure that when they come in, they're getting everything that they need to actually stick with the program. It's easier to maintain a recruit than it is to go out and get a new recruit. And so the one thing you want to really think of is when a recruit is earning income. So when they are earning income, when they're cycling even just one time a week, their retention rate goes up to 97%. So getting them paid out has a lot to do with their retention and your retention of keeping those associates. And so that's why I'm stressing this. So what does it look like? You get a new recruit. The first thing that I do is I schedule their back office training. Now, I want to stress to you the why I do the back office training, not just that I do it, but why. Also, just to tell you this, on ISOROX, you're going to see the video training floating around. I only send that video training as a very, very last resort. Last resort. What I do is when I bring in a personal enrollee, Allison, whenever you did that and you have the sparkles on your hand, it looks like a piece of hamburger. Like, I don't know how you're holding it. I'm like, is that a hamburger? Like, I'm like totally like sidetracked looking at your arm. But anyway, when I'm bringing them on, I'm really looking at, my goal is to get that person to begin curiosity posting and to get them to do their training calls. That's my goal. So if you send a video, that is not going to happen. I only send the video after I try to get hold of the person, and they still, and I can't get them to, hold on, just trying to fix the background. And I can't get a hold of them. That's the only time I send it. So the back office training, the thing is, you guys, you want to do practice back office trainings with me or with your executive, just like you practice doing three-way calls. The same thing. You want to practice them. And so if you have a new enrollee, or maybe they're not even a new enrollee, maybe they've been in 3 or 4 months or weeks, I have no idea, and they've not had back office training, you want to take them through that so that with your executive, so you can watch your executive go through that process. I know that last night, Julie and I talked to 3 or 4 people, and I know that even as she was listening to it, light bulbs are going on for her, like, oh, that's how you get them to do the training calls. And so during that back office training, I'm showing them, I go through it just on teamdestinyonline.com. I go through all of that verbatim. I use it just like I would use a lesson plan. And then whenever I get to the section on the training calls, I try to show them how to do that. And I try to help them curiosity post. And then my goal then is to find out from them who are their 2 nicest people that will start doing the training calls. Guys, if you do not do that, I promise you what happens is they say way too much stuff. Like, they start saying things like, oh my gosh, the cow is from New Zealand and you should see the pictures of them. They're really skinny and they don't eat grass, but the reason why, they don't eat grain. The reason why is they eat grass. And they say all this stuff. And then they say, oh, and it's $330, but really I saved the money. And then they're saying to you, none of my friends want it. None of my friends can afford it. And you're like, how do your friends even know how much it is? And so they don't know what to say. So they say way, way, way too much, which is why roping them in and getting them through that back office training is going to really, really help set the tone for that. So that's the first thing that I do. The other thing that you want to do with any new enrollee is you want to get them enrolled into one of our accountability groups as soon as possible. Any single person that is on your team should have been invited to be on your executive's next accountability group, where you are texting them through and holding them accountable to the products. And so you want to really take ownership of that. That even for me, I think I've shared with you guys before that I don't really love to work out. I mean, the rest of my family, they're like, let's go work out. And me, I'm like, I only work out because so I can wear my swimsuit and because it helps me make money. But I have girls that work out with me at 5 a.m. And if they don't show up, it is really hard for me to go. And this is my life. And so you're dealing with real people with real lives. And so getting them plugged into those accountability groups will raise your retention up tremendously. And also they will get product results, and it will help you really with the coaching of those results and getting them to post and getting them to answer the questions correctly. So that's another piece of it. I'll post this video up tonight. I still got to post up the David Wood video too. Or actually, I'll post up in the morning. I'm going to go to bed when we're done. But there's a Tracy O'Malley 14-day talk that is actually on YouTube. So it's Tracy O'Malley 14-day talk. You want to make sure that you watch that on YouTube so that you can learn how to really coach your associates well on the product. So I'll post that up there. But basically what she does, or what she coaches you to do as the enrolling sponsor, is to have that new associate text you every day for 14 days so that you're helping to hold them accountable throughout that product. Those first 14 days are the most important. They can almost make or break someone in Isagenix. When you think about what they go through. I mean, the first 3 days are awful for a lot of people. Their heads hurt, they're tired, they're exhausted, they're thinking, why did I do this? And so when you're coaching them through that retention rate is so much higher. So I would definitely watch that. You want to make sure that your new enrollees are added into ISOROX, into Fat Slayers, and that they are in the Fit Happy Life page. That's just keeping them plugged in. When a new associate comes in, a new enrollee comes in, welcome them. Welcome them into ISOROX and welcome them into Fat Slayers. Put their pictures up. I know it's a crazy thing, but a lot of people never get recognition. They'll go through a whole day and no one ever calls them out and says good job or anything. I mean, we live sometimes, especially females, we live in a thankless world where we're always the ones doing, recognizing. So to take that new enrollee and put their picture up on ISOROX and on Fat Slayers that says, welcome Susan to our team. She's ready to get her 30-day system in and start rocking her body. And then when they hear welcome, they begin to sense this community that's built around them, which is such a real thing. I mean, and I think it's the biggest part. A lot of times people will stay in Isagenix because of the community. I mean, you stay in church because of the community. You stay in groups because of community. And so getting them immersed into the community on those pages is so big. You want to do that. And the same kind of goes for if there are other people welcoming people onto those pages, go in and tell them welcome. Say welcome, good luck. You're going to love it. Do that. Friend them on your Facebook page. I mean, I go back and forth about that because you want to leave plenty of room for prospects. However, I'll tell you this, and I know that I shared this with you guys, I think earlier in the week, but we changed my Facebook where I went in and I picked out 50 people that I wanted to recruit, and I put them in people you see first. And I was watching these 50 boring people that were complaining about their life that needed Isagenix, and I couldn't take it. On Sunday night, I go up to Kelsey's room and I knock on her door and I'm like, you have got to switch that because those people are so negative. I need my Isagenix people to come up first because they feed my energy. And so to get your new people submersed in that will make a huge difference, more than what you even know. And the other thing too is it takes the concept that we use when we're talking about the power leg of many hands make light work. That also becomes the case because then when they have questions, they ask on the community pages, and you might be at work and someone else answers their questions, and you can go back and you can give that favor later on down the road. But there's something about those communities and submersing your team into them that really does make a big difference. And so getting them added in, that's super important. In coaching your team, when they're on the accountability groups, really look over those Facebook pages, watch and see who's liking their pictures, ask them who's liking, make sure that you're communicating with them. The one thing that you want to really think about, especially when you're building your team, sometimes you're thinking, I really got to get that person to consultant. I don't want to be bothering them. But most of the time, those team members want to hit consultant worse than you even want them to, because that means they're getting their products paid for. So know that. And so you're really just kind of helping them along the way. Now, as someone's getting results, so let's say you have someone getting a lot of product results, they're doing well, you don't see them hitting their 2 consultant. You don't see them hitting consultant. What I would do is I would humble yourself and call your executive and say to her, listen, I have a couple of consultant associates on my team. They're not hitting consultant yet. They're having great results. Would you mind getting on the phone with them? Because sometimes bringing that third party in to talk to that person that's getting results, people sometimes can get mother deaf. I'll do this sometimes with CV. I'll have someone that I feel like I'm not moving along the way that I could be or that I want to be. And then I'll get her on the phone with them just to get a third party involved to try to get them unstuck and moving forward. And so know to always consider bringing in your executive to help that along if you need to do that. And the last thing I really want to share wholeheartedly about your associates is this. I'm saying all of this and I take ownership over it. And I do my very best to coach people, to do the accountability groups, to put them in, to believe in them, to offer online training and at-home training, and just belief. But at the end of the day, I can only bring them my best. I can lead the horse to water, but I cannot shove their head down into the trough until they drink. I can't do that. At the end of the day, it's still on them. And so what we have to be in working with these associates is we have to hold it so loosely in our hands where we love them. We are all out bringing our best. We're taking every ounce of responsibility that we have. But at the end of the day, we've got to know that ultimately it is their decision. Ultimately, it's their decision of whether they buy in or they don't buy in, if they take your coaching or they don't. Ultimately, when it comes down to it, that's what it is. And so what I feel like works best for me in this situation is I believe in everyone as if they're going to do it. I give them my guts. My phone rang tonight at 5 o'clock, or I get a text message at 5 o'clock from somebody saying, can you please do a 3-way call? And we did not have a family night. I was just kind of sitting on my couch. I had a 30-minute break. I hadn't had a break in hours, which is why I have no voice, but I love it. But I said to my husband, I listened to a training that changed everything for me by Herb Cepeda. And Herb Cepeda said, when you have an opportunity to take a 3-way call, if at all possible, take it. And so I got that offer. Can I do it? And I told my husband, I'm taking it, because if I don't give my best, how may I expect God to bless it? And so I took the call. It was amazing. But with that being said, at the end of the day, I'm believing, I'm bringing my best, but I'm going to keep filling my personal pipeline, because I will never be caught dependent upon any person. Because at the end of the day, it's my goal, my dream, my desire, where I'm going. And I know as long as I keep showing up, as long as I keep my Facebook rolling, as long as I keep going forward and my energy is where it's supposed to be, and I'm breathing belief into people, that I will eventually have the right people in my tribe that come and stay and stick and run with me. So I'm saying all this, but then ending it with, there should never, as long as you're doing your very best, there should never be guilt. And there's still adult people. We are still adult people, all of them. But you're just bringing your best, to really get them engaged and helping them. So let me recap. Susie Q signs up. What happens? You, first of all, add her into the groups and you welcome her. You do that first. And then when you see a welcome, you welcome everyone. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to schedule her back office training. You do not prejudge it. You don't say, well, Susie Q is not a business builder. She's a product user. The back office trainings are way, way, way more for a product user than a business builder, because a business builder will be spewing names out to you without you ever doing the back office training. So they get it. You don't prejudge it. The minute you start prejudging it, then you're like, oh, they need it. They don't need it. They need it. They don't need it. That's not the case. And you get face to face with them. You might feel like, I don't have time to do that. It takes 20 minutes to go through it all out effectively, sometimes 15, to get names, to pull names, to get an associate so they go to a consultant so they have a 97% retention rate. It's actually the opposite. You don't have time to not do it, because if you don't do it, it's going to be like you're trying to fill your bathtub up with the drain open, and that's not what we want. We want to shore up what we have. And so the back office training is the next thing. The next thing you're going to be doing with them is placing them in accountability groups for the product and text coaching them. And then the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to give it your very best to get them to do those 10 training calls with you, product users and associates. And of course, helping them to curiosity posts, but that's going to come through the accountability group. That's all part of that. And so staying on those things, you guys, is what's going to produce associates that stick with you and stay with you. Now, I want to give you your challenge for tonight. Your challenge for tonight is to really think about who are the 3 people in this world that you would love to have on Dr. Bruce's call more than anybody else. I want you to take the time and reflect about that and think about it, because we get so busy. And I'm like, 25 calls, 25 calls, 25 calls. But at the end of the day, what I would rather you do is to close your eyes, get quiet, and think about, okay, who are the 3 people that I would really love to get on here? And really consider that. I want you to post that up on the wall. These are the 3 people that I would love to get on the call with Dr. Bruce, so that we can see that. And basically, that's the challenge. I do want to see if anyone has any questions about your new associates, or about getting people on the call tomorrow night. So is there anybody with questions? No? All right, perfect. Well, thank you guys. I will get both videos up. I'll get the David Wood video up and the Tracy O'Malley video up. I'll have all that up by noon or so tomorrow. And if you guys need anything else, you think of anything, just holler. Don't forget to write up on the wall, what's your goal? Get it up there. I mean, there's something about putting it up there. Who are those 3 people that you would love to get on with Dr. Bruce? But you guys have a great night. Bye, everybody. Good night.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, guys. See you tomorrow night.